everybody? What's going on, everybody? Monday, March 10th, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning into Loud Majority Live. I don't know what in the sweet hell is going on. It seems as though Rumble and X are both down at the same time. So if somebody's in the Rumble chat, let me know. Somebody shoot me a text or hit me up on the Facebook Live, because I don't know where the hell anybody is. But we shall continue to rock. We shall continue to roll here. DDoS attacks, be damned. Be damned. Before we get started, hi Joe. Hit the thumbs up button, share the video out all over the place, share it out. Let's see, someone will let me know if Rumble's working. Yep, something seems to be happening. Jeanette, how are you? Terry, what is going on? Yeah, it seems as though Rumble is down at the moment. We'll let you guys know about that, but we're going to keep going with the show anyway. So Democrats happen to be in complete and utter free fall. The resistance has completely petered out, and I can't tell you how great it is to see. It seems as though the leader of the Democratic Party right now, no one knows who that is. Is it Jamie Raskin? Is it Jasmine Crockett? Is it AOC? Is it John Fetterman? All we know for sure is that there is certainly a headwinds changing in the Democratic Party. We're going to show you guys all of that. Also, a new scandal has erupted over something called an auto pen. What the hell is, in fact, an auto pen? We'll tell you guys all about that as we get moving and grooving here. But before we get started with all of that, Old Glory Bank.
What do a neurosurgeon, a country artist, and a television and radio host have in common? They all saw the writing on the wall. Big banks sharing your financial information with big government. Join them as owners in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Invest today at own.oldglorybank.com.
Guys, head on over to own.oldglorybank.com. That's own.oldglorybank.com. Have you ever wanted to become part owner of a bank? I know I certainly have. I would have loved to have gotten in on JP Morgan Chase or Citibank way back when. So go to own.oldglorybank.com. As a matter of fact, tomorrow on the show, we're going to have the CEO of Old Glory Bank, Mike Ringer, on the show to talk about everything that's going on with the bank, what they've been doing, his testimony before Congress. Make sure you keep it locked in here for that one. Once again, guys, it seems as though there have been some sort of a DDoS attack against Rumble and against Twitter today. We'll bring you guys the updates as that happens. Before we even get into anything national or political, I do want to give a huge shout out to all of the volunteer firefighters we've got here on Long Island. Many of you saw in the news, you probably saw my video. It was actually all over the damn place. We had a pretty wildfire out here on Long Island over the course of the weekend, with several hundred acres out east on Long Island being burned up. It was certainly a sight to be seen. That's certainly one way of putting it. So I do want to make sure I give a huge shout out to all of the volunteers, all the volleys out here doing what they have to do to keep the neighborhood safe. You guys did a hell of a job. Over 90 different companies responded to it. It was pretty incredible to see. Pretty incredible to see everybody make it out east as quickly as they did. So I want to give a big shout out to County Executive Ed Romaine. Shout out to Congressman Nick LaLota, the supervisor of Brookhaven, Dan Panico, the supervisor of of Southampton. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. I'm not being a dick. I just can't remember it at the moment. You guys all did a phenomenal job. These things happen. Nobody really knows why it happened just yet. Obviously, we are not going to speculate on this show. If you look in the comments section of the video, there's plenty of people doing their own speculation as they see fit. 15-minute cities and all land grabs and everybody under the sun with every theory that's ever been said. I'm not going to dive into any of that crap. So, once again, big shout out to everybody involved in that. And I just want to say thank you to all the volleys who are out there. All of our firefighters here on Long Island are all volunteers. They give up their weekends, and huge thank you to all of them. So let's move on to the national stories. Obviously, a lot breaking over the course of the weekend, and one story that is really not getting enough attention has to do with something called an auto pen, which is not really a story that I thought. Kevin, I can't get Rumble up on my computer, says Kimberly. Yes, Rumble appears to be down. Rumble appears to be down. I'll say it a few times throughout the show. We're going to keep going anyway. So there's a story that's been breaking over something called an auto pen. What is this? Well, quick recap of the auto pen scandal. So presidents, and all presidents do this, they have their automatic signature put into some kind of a computer or a stamp of some kind. And look, if they have to sign 100 executive orders in a day, it's not going to come as any surprise to anybody that they don't actually sign each and every one of them. You've seen the way Donald Trump signs his name. If he spent the entire day just signing things, that's all he would get done. So they have this auto pen. Presidents throughout time, Clinton, Obama, Bush, they've all used it. The big problem is that many of them who use this auto pen know what they are signing. And the question continues to be asked about Joe Biden is, where is his cognitive function? Now that the media is willing to admit out loud the thing that we've always known to be true, and that Joe Biden hasn't been with us in quite some time, the question a lot of people are beginning to ask is, who exactly used this auto pen feature? Was it some staffer? Was it Tony Blinken? Was it Jill Biden, who was basically going in and signing documents in the name of the President of the United States? This is a very serious problem. And this is something that I think people are going to end up looking into for a while now. Look, it is not the question of the use of the auto pen. Everyone does it. Trump does it. They all do it. The problem is that many of them know what they're signing when they use this automated device. The question continues to be asked about whether or not anyone told Joe Biden what he was signing when he did it. We'll get to this breaking story from the New York Post. Dozens of executive orders signed by former President Joe Biden were authorized with identical auto pen signatures, raising crucial questions about whether he was fully aware of what he was signing, critics say. The Conservative Heritage Foundation, his oversight project, uncovered the situation, prompting Biden detractors such as Republican Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who has been on the forefront of basically everything for a while now, to suggest that it could be used to challenge the legitimacy of many of the orders that the 82-year-old Biden signed, especially the ones given his clear cognitive decline. I demand that the DOJ investigate whether Joe Biden's cognitive decline allowed unelected staff members to push through radical policy without his knowledge or approval. That's a very serious question right there. There is a big difference. There is a huge, huge difference between someone not wanting to sign 250 papers over the course of a day and staffers going in and signing these documents at their own accord, just willy-nilly. There is a huge difference there. If true, these executive orders, the pardons, and other actions are unconstitutional and would be legally void. One of the auto-penned signed orders from Biden in August of 2022, directive meant to safeguard abortion access during an emergency situation, the Heritage Foundation said. Another was in December of 24, ordered to close government offices on January 9th to honor the late Jimmy Carter. Obviously, the first one of those has huge implications. The second one has not so many implications. The abortion one would have huge implications. The signing of the Jimmy Carter one, not going to change anybody's life. The question becomes, were Democratic staffers or Jill Biden or, God forbid, Hunter Biden signing executive orders using this auto pen under Joe Biden's name? That is a question I think many of us would love to have answers to, particularly when it comes to some of the pardons. Not only the pardons of the corrupt dealings of the Biden crime family, but the pardons of, say, the Cash for Kids guy. We all know that story. Those are the two judges that sent young people to prison for extensive periods of time for minor infractions like cutting class or truancy or getting into a fight in high school. They sent me to prison every time I got into a fight in high school. I'd still be there. The cash, if you guys haven't seen, if you guys are unaware of the Cash for Kids scandal, I got to be honest with you, Joe Biden pardoning those two judges on the way out the door literally might be the most destructive and corrupt thing he did while he was in office. And that is certainly saying something. That is certainly saying something. The Post conducted a random brief scan of 36 signatures of executive orders in the Federal Registry from President Trump, President Obama, and Biden at various times of their presidency. All three men's signatures did not appear to change, although the Post review were briefer and less comprehensive than the Heritage Foundation's. The AutoPen signatures were produced by machine instead of being done by hand. Scores of presidents dating back to at least Harry Truman, that wouldn't be scores, but whatever. Dating back to Harry Truman are believed to have leaned on this modern auto pen. We've gathered several documents. We've gathered every document that we could to find Biden's signature on any of them during his presidency. All used the auto pen except for the announcement that the former president was dropping out of the race at the end of the year. This could be big stuff. Could a guy like Andrew Bailey now challenge some of Joe Biden's orders, considering it seems as though many of them were used with this auto pen, and the question is not so much did he use the auto pen, because as I said, many presidents have done so. It is not out of the realm of possibility for a president to do that. The question is who themselves used the auto pen. We'll dive into that. Well, I'm sure there will be more on that, particularly when you look back at this old clip of Mike Johnson saying that Joe Biden may not have even remembered signing some of the executive orders that he did.
Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand. Liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me, stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
He didn't know. So the question continues to be, who did know? Somebody had to know. Somebody signed the paper. Somebody put it in front of the president. The question is, now that the media is willing to admit the very obvious cognitive decline of Joe Biden, what did he know? What did he do? When did he do it? This could be a much bigger scandal than people are letting on. This could be a much, much bigger scandal than some people are letting on. So we will keep you on top of all of that as we keep moving and grooving here. Because, look, Democrats, it is safe to say, did not have a very good weekend. Did not have a very good weekend. As there were protests that popped up all over the country at Tesla dealerships, because nothing says sanity like protesting outside of a green energy dealership because you don't like, I don't know, what Elon Musk is doing. One of those protests, I'm actually very sad because I wanted to go to the protest here on Long Island, but couldn't because I was tied up covering the the fires out here, but one of them got pretty weird. Friend of the show, maybe I'll have him on. 6'7" Kevin, that's really his name because he's gigantic. He's actually 6'7", and his name is Kevin, so naturally he's awesome. But he decided to cover some of the protests outside of a Tesla dealership where he is, and he found out that the majority of the people out there hadn't had the slightest idea what they were talking about, which is not going to come as a shock to anybody. Then they got very, very, very upset when questioned on what would appear to be fairly basic things. Here that was.
Do you think most people here are for corruption?
No, back the off!
What do you guys think of Tesla owners like him?
I mean, I feel like he made a bad decision, right? Like, I want him to join us. I don't want to attack him, you know?
But the Cybertrucks are really
They are.
ugly,
They're
so you
quite
gotta be
ugly.
kind of a douchebag.
What brought you guys out today? Are you willing to say?
We don't want someone who's unelected to be deciding the fate of our country.
We have a lot of friends and family who are federal workers too, and it's unconscionable what's happening to me.
Okay. So you're out here to support your friends that are government workers? I understand that, yeah.
I think if we can get Musk where it potentially works too, that can make quite a impact potentially.
But I'm curious because the other side would say that he was voted in by majority, Trump was, to remove corruption, wasteful spending.
Yeah, but he's not removing anything. He wants to put tariffs on Canada to stop them from allowing drugs to come in the country, but he pardoned the biggest drug runner there is, the Silk Road guy. So he's a hypocrite, and all he cares about is people to kiss the ring, and then he'll give them anything they want. So he doesn't care about anybody but himself and his rich friends.
And I
So.
feel like, yes,
And Elon Musk's another one. He just wants to do the Doge stuff so he can get everyone's data so he can enrich his AI company. So all these people, seriously. It's a complete farce because almost all of the money they supposedly saved has been proven wrong.
Really?
They canceled a government contract and saved $50 billion, and then it was like, oh no, that contract got canceled 20 years ago. So they're just making up stuff. They don't even know what they're doing.
Really?
19-year-old behind a lot of it doesn't even know anything.
Oh, big balls?
Yes. The whole thing is a joke.
Well, I read through that list, and I wouldn't want any of my taxpayer money to go to anything on that list. He's very transparent about it. Is it all a lie, or is only some of it a lie?
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. But it's not, they're not being forthright about things when they're making up stories.
You think they're making it up? What?
No.
They're very transparent with it, in my opinion, saying everything they want to do, showing it on the website. What else could they do to do a better job, you think?
I don't know. I don't want to be on this video, though. So I want you to delete it.
Do you think most people
I
are...
want you to stop filming me.
I want to see
So
it.
please keep walking.
It's a public place. I can
don't care.
film whoever I want.
Yeah, well, you cannot put that on YouTube.
I can put whatever I want. Are you guys... do you think most people here are for corruption?
No, back the off!
Whoa. Are most people here... Are you for corruption, sir? You like wasteful spending?
Dude, hey, dude.
You like wasteful spending?
Hey, put the phone down.
This is a public place.
So? Get out of here.
I can...
Get out of here.
Dude, I can film here. I can film here. This is a public place.
Get out of here.
This is a public place.
You're not welcome here.
Everybody over at Turning Point USA doing a phenomenal job. I actually do want to give, it's funny. I was oh, what the hell is that? I was actually joking around with somebody the other day when I saw the video. I actually give them a little bit of credit considering, most people would not approach 6'7" Kevin because he's gigantic. But this guy, it's funny that too, because the minute his ideas got questioned at all, He fell apart. The minute Kevin didn't let this guy just spew his nonsense, his crap all over the place, he freaked out. He freaked out. And you know what? That is the typical way these people operate. That is the typical way that these people operate. Oh, hey, look at that. Rumble's back up. Rumble's back up. Boom. All right, everybody. Let's see. What do we got here? What do you hear? What do you say? Let's get that live chat up there. How is everybody doing today? Obviously, we had a little bit of a Rumble issue today. We've had some, I don't know what you would call it. I don't know if you'd call it attacks or not, but want to make sure I give a big shout out to everybody watching over there on the Rumble chat. Hello, hello. What's up, guys? What's going on? Lazy Auto, how are you? Let's see. What do we got? Sassy Girl, hello, hello. Big shout out, Conservative Autumn. I'm sure you're in there somewhere. Want to make sure I say hello to you because I don't want to forget. I do not want to forget. Pat, what's going on? Yes, X is bad too. Kimberly Chris, hello. Our AC Knight, as always, hello, hello. Yeah, no, there's been some wild attacks all day long. Finally got Rumble going. Oh, great. So some of my previews will be really high. I like the sound of that. Before we keep rocking and rolling here today, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. Consider becoming a monthly donor over here at LFA. That's how we keep the lights on over here. That's how we keep everybody fed. This is user-generated content, and we can't do it without your support. We really do appreciate that always. And if you're watching on any of the other platforms, do me a favor and please share this video out so that more people can get the content as well. More people can get the content. Couldn't get you on X either. Yeah, no, there's been look, you know, these things are going to happen. I tend not to freak out about it. You know, these DDoS attacks, which have been explained to me like 24 times. I still have no idea what that means. But they tend to happen. They tend to happen sometimes. So we shall let that go. So the question becomes, once you've gone to LFATV.us. The question becomes, who is the leader in the Democratic Party today? What is the name of that person? Because for the last couple of days across all the Sunday shows, Democrats have continued to beclown themselves. They have no leader. They know which way is up. They have nothing going for them. Nothing whatsoever. And I'm sitting back here laughing my ass off watching it all happen. So much so that even CNN had to admit that the Democrats' attempt to be like, I don't know, cool and relevant and with it and doing what the kids are doing is some of the most cringe crap any of us have ever seen.
It got more cringy from there when several congresswomen appeared in this influencer's video. Oh, no.
Choose your character.
So look, I mean,
that was not fair. We can't be that bad. That makes the whole party look.
I didn't even answer that question. I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, nobody asked for that in particular. And I also just think it's like you start with all the chaos of the different responses at the joint address, and then you have this like super sober Elisa Slotkin response, and then a couple of days of just all this random social media.
They clearly
antics.
Don't have an idea of what to do. They have had at least months to prepare, at least since the election, to start preparing. This is weak. This is not the way we should be responding. This does not give the country any confidence that there is an opposition to this. I actually think Al Green had the right idea. If we think that he's a dictator and we're moving in an authoritarian direction, then we should be standing up. But then to have Democrats vote to censure him, for shame, as if their civility is more important than standing up to a dictator?
I hope they keep having that guy with the big hair on because he continues to make an absolute ass out of himself. At least, that was a table full of Democrats talking about how cringe they actually are. It hurt to watch. It absolutely hurt to watch. And it's because they suck at this. Democrats suck at this. They have never, I don't know, since the advent of television, they have never understood what it was like to be us. To exist in a world where you have to compete on their terms. That's why the other day, that's why I spent so long the other day talking about the Charlie Kirk, Gavin Newsom podcast. I know a lot of you got upset with me because you didn't agree, and that's okay. We're allowed to disagree. But now we are making them fight battles on our terms, on our turf. And that is where we win the culture. That is where we win this war. We win it on our terms. We make them come to us. We don't need them. We are the media now. I mean, look, if any of you, and I know some of you did, because you all sent it to me, and I thank you very much. If any of you saw the footage from the fires on Long Island all over Fox News, you were watching my video. We are the media now. We did that. We as a collective can be what the media should have been most of our lives, but have chosen not to. Make them fight on our terms. We make them fight on our terms. We keep them on the back foot. And if they are on the back foot, it means we are winning. It means we're going to continue to win. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it, baby. Because when they go on their platforms, when they go on their networks that nobody watches anymore, they get absurd responses like this one, where Jamie Raskin actually thinks that Donald Trump should be censured for throwing Al Green out of the House for waving his cane at him. And it's not going to be for the reason you think. Jamie Raskin thinks that Donald Trump ought to be censured because the last time somebody used a cane on the House floor, it was to beat up another member. So Jamie Raskin says, maybe it wasn't that bad.
Congressman, a protest a day keeps the fascists away. I want to stay on this Democratic response for a quick moment. What does it say to the public when you have someone like Al Green step up in the way that he did, and you have 10 Democrats who vote in line of censure for that congressman? It does not seem like there is a coordinated response in terms of the actual pushback. And I'm just wondering what the takeaway should be in terms of Democratic messaging for the public.
Well, look, that's a fair criticism. We've stayed overwhelmingly unified through this, and I think it is a valid critique that we did not have one single strategic plan going into Donald Trump's address on that night, whether it was boycott, walkout, sign waving, heckling interruption, which is what Marjorie Taylor Greene repeatedly did to Joe Biden. Of course, Biden dealt with that like a man and just responded to it. Donald Trump couldn't handle it because he doesn't have the verbal dexterity to respond, and so they had to have Al Green removed. But the last person who used a cane like that in the House of Representatives was Preston Brooks, who went over and beat the daylights out of Senator Charles Sumner before the Civil War. And he wasn't even censured for what he did, actually using a cane for violence as opposed just to get people's attention. And, Al Green was making a very strong, valid, substantive point, which is there is no mandate to destroy Medicaid. And the vast majority of Democrats rejected the idea of censuring him. And really, if we were censuring anybody, it should have been Donald Trump, who I don't think had been back to our chamber since he incited a violent insurrection against us. And then he used his pulpit in order to call a sitting member of the United States Senate Pocahontas. So I think a racial and ethnic slur from the president was a far greater insult to the dignity and decorum of our chamber.
Congressman, I'm a former federal employee. I know that there are literally hundreds of thousands of federal employees who are concerned not only about their jobs, but also the immediate future of the federal government. What is the message that is being sent to them about how they seem to be used as political pawns in this moment and as dispensable workers, despite providing critical services to the American people? And how are Democrats going to try and make sure that they are secure, not just until September, but beyond with respect to the budget and the government remaining open?
Well, it's straight up authoritarianism. I mean, this is what Viktor Orban has done in Hungary to clean out the civil service with real expert professionals and people who are devoted to the public interest and replace them with a bunch of party hacks and sycophants to the dear leader. So they're really destroying the product of more than a century of construction of a professional civil service in the country. Fortunately, the Article 3 branch, the courts are stepping up to the plate right now as unions go in, as workers go in to vindicate their rights. And a lot of probationary employees have won preliminary relief in court. They're on probation, not because they did anything wrong. They're on probation because either they were just hired or they were promoted because of their excellence in their past performance. And I brought one of those workers, a doctor from NIH, Dr. Lauren McGee, my constituent, who leads as the chief biologist a unit working on childhood cancers. And she got sacked on Valentine's Day in that Valentine's Day massacre simply because she was a probationary employee. She was in that position because she had just been promoted. And I've met tons of my constituents who have nothing but superior evaluations who got sacked by Elon Musk. Now, the Republicans had him go and visit their Republican conference, and they got the exact same kinds of complaints from the Republicans who can't even go to town hall.
Look, guys, why do I show you that long-ass clip? Why do I show you that? Is it because I want to torture you? No. It is to show you that if this is the resistance, if this is what we're going to call the resistance, les résistants, we are never going to lose again. We're never going to lose again. These are some of the least impressive people on planet Earth. There's like 4 of them out there that actually have like a normal human emotion. And I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for all of it. I'm going to sit back, I'm going to put my feet up, and I'm going to let the enemy defeat themselves. Never stop your enemy while they're killing themselves. And right now, Democrats can't stop but beat themselves up. They're doing it every day, over and over and over again. Need more examples of this? Well, Democrats got asked by Johnny over on Jesse Waters why they responded the way they did to some of the stuff at the State of the Union, and none of them could even answer that basic question. Before we get to that, guys, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. Once again, guys, make sure you're hitting the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Share it out. Let's get it rocking. Let's get it rolling. What are we up to today? We got to get to go out. These numbers got to get up. What are we doing here? Share it out. Let's get it over 1,000. I'm liking it. I think we can get it over 1,000 today. Absolutely. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. We are going to be joined by Mike Ring from Old Glory Bank. Good friend of the show, Mike Ring. Old Glory Bank is, of course, a sponsor of the show. We'll hear from Old Glory Bank later. But Mike Ring, the CEO of the bank, I like the fact that I'm in a position now in my life where I can interview the CEOs of banks. That's pretty interesting. Never thought I'd be here. Mike Ring will be here tomorrow. What's happening, everybody? What is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Once again, make sure you are hitting that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Let's dive right back on in. So, Johnny, old Johnny from Jesse Waters' show. You guys know him. He's the guy who does all the funny little man on the street interviews. By the way, those people that do the man on the street stuff, I give you more credit than anybody. I could never do that. It is one of the most uncomfortable things ever. It's so weird. But Johnny goes out, does great work, man on the street stuff. He was roaming around Congress yesterday, asking them why they couldn't, stand for a kid with cancer. And almost none of them had any sort of logical, reasonable response.
Senator, how's it going? Johnny from Fox. What could Donald Trump do that'll make you clap?
Thank you very much.
What could Donald Trump do that'll make you clap?
I did clap when he said that the United States had supported Ukraine and given them lots of
Well, why not for Laken Riley's mom? How was that speech last night? Did you love it?
Well, I watched it. I don't think that was the best look for our party last night.
Very disappointing.
So you didn't stand up for anything?
The president got before the American people, didn't talk about how he could drive down grocery prices.
Senator, why weren't you standing yesterday for anything?
Very important hearing right now on anti-Semitism.
But you didn't stand for anything at the speech last
I don't know
night.
what you're talking about, where you got that information.
Well, there was nothing the president had to say.
Laken Riley's mom, you didn't stand for her.
Factual or truthful or anything like that.
We applauded.
You don't think it's worthy to stand up for her like everyone else?
We should applaud.
I need you to move.
Congressman, why didn't you stand for the speech?
Have a good day. I need to go to a meeting.
80% of the American people, according to CBS, loved the speech.
Again, I don't think with the United States.
Are the Democrats out of touch?
The United States of America. Forgive me for going here. Forgive me for being out of breath.
I don't know what speech they were watching.
They were watching the president's speech, Senator.
Really? It wasn't worth watching.
Why was Al Green so disrespectful?
You got to ask Al Green.
So I just pulled up to Congressman Al Green's office, went inside, see if he wanted to talk, because he did a lot of talking at the joint address, but they shooed me away. They said, we're not talking to Johnny. What was wrong with those Democrats? They couldn't stand last night?
Well, I think people got to see the difference between conservative Republicans and liberal Democrats. Liberal Democrats are miserable people.
I bet their butts were sore sitting that long.
Why do you want men and women's sports?
Therefore, I
Senator,
need to go. Aloha.
Why do you want men and women's sports, Senator?
Thank you.
Congressman, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
Congressman, why should men be in women's sports?
Shorts?
Sports. Why do you think
they should not be in shorts?
Senator, why are we paying for Sesame Street in Iraq?
I do not know that is true, so I'm not going to say yes or no.
You don't trust the Doge findings?
I don't really have an opinion on that. And I work in a business. I think it requires, we don't have to have an opinion on everything.
Do you have an opinion on Jesse Waters?
Oh yeah, I wish I had his hair. Yeah. And my dad's a big fan.
You need to get away from me.
Congresswoman, did you like the speech last night?
Awesome.
All right, look, a couple things. Let's go over the very, 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 very obvious there. The absolute very obvious. Number one, Rep. Andy Cohen in the damn rascal scooter. Really, bro? Really? What are you 2,000 years old roaming around in that damn thing? That's number one. Number two, John Fetterman. Look, kind of a communist, very funny. Very funny. It's not about whether or not I like Fetterman, because I don't. It is at least he had like a smart-ass quip. At least he had like a zinger. At least he had a response that was something. Rest of the Democrats ran away like little bitches. That's what they do. Because every single time, they are confronted on their nonsense and they are allowed to speak whenever they think they are in their little safe space and they can get away with saying just about the most batshit crazy thing imaginable. They say stuff that they can't take back. Exhibit A, we will go to the illustrious, awful Jasmine Crockett in 1 second. Before we do that, Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, Who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, head on over to own.oldglorybank.com. That's own.oldglorybank.com. We're going to be joined by the CEO of that bank, Mike Ringer, tomorrow. Super excited about that. So when they are allowed to frolic about freely, Democrats go out of their way to say things that everyone seems to objectively hate. Exhibit A, we've got Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett, who thinks that crossing the border illegally is not a crime, which I find to be funny, considering not only is it definitely a crime, but if it's not a crime, why did she use the term illegally? Very curious stuff.
City law enforcement, local law enforcement, they are always going after crime. And they don't say, oh, you committed a murder? Oh, but you're an immigrant? Well, let me let you go, right? So they are always focused on crime. They continue to say things like the illegals and that they broke the law coming in. But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations. And so that's why I wanted to point out, don't give me this fake outrage about criminals roaming our streets when you guys stand 10 toes down for the biggest criminal that we have ever seen go into the White House.
This is, of course, the Democratic mantra on basically everything. If they don't want it to be a crime, it's just not a crime, which is not how laws work. I think that let's just arguably say speeding is an incredibly stupid crime, incredibly dumb. It's probably just a cash grab in many cases. But that doesn't mean I can say that to the cop if I get pulled over. But Democrats believe that if they don't like it, if they don't want it, we'll just ignore it as a crime, whether it's beating up a cop or, I don't know, crossing the border illegally, or a man going into a woman's bathroom. That was a crime for, all of time up until 10 minutes ago. But Democrats don't think it's a crime, so therefore we just don't have to police it. This is their worldview. This is the world they want, and this is the world they are going to get. This is the world they're going to get, and that's why they are in complete and utter shambles. So much so that even the idiots over at CBS News have to admit that things are going pretty well. But before they do that, before they admit that things are going pretty well, they've got to paint you some harrowing picture of all that is happening with the border. Here's CBS News. We'll start with the problems, and then we froze up again. Yeah, Rumble's been having problems all day. We'll try to get that fixed for the later shows, guys. But CBS News decided they were going to try to hit Kristi Noem on the separating families policy, and of course she had the exact correct answer for it.
The administration has revived this policy of detaining migrant families, parents with children, in ICE detention centers. Bush did it, Obama did it, Biden did not. Have you seen these Texas facilities where children are being held with their parents? Are you comfortable with it personally?
We've got detention facilities across the country, and there's specific ones that are built specifically for families if they are detained. But remember, everybody has an option. They have an option to be here legally or illegally, and they can self-deport as well. We've set up a system and a website where people who are here illegally right now can register, and they can choose to go home on their own and keep their families united. Well, the kids do have a choice. If they have parents, they make a choice to keep their families together if they want to, or not. If parents make a decision to leave their children behind, then that's a choice that they made as a family. And we need to remember that when Americans break the law and they have consequences or face a situation, they're separated from their families too. I don't believe we should prioritize people from other countries above Americans.
But when it comes to reviving the policy of separating families from their children at the border,
we're actually reviving it.
That's what I want to ask you.
President Biden didn't follow the law. He didn't follow the law in the fact that it's always been equally applied until his administration. And then he made decisions to ignore federal law in how he handled immigration and enforcement within our borders. And so
Turns out when you break the law in this country, you get separated from your family. It's not a nice thing, but if I get a DWI, I'm going to be removed from my family. That's just sort of the way things work. But luckily, this family separation policy, they want to call it, it's actually not as bad as it once was. And why is that? And because the border is effectively closed.
Just feet away from Mexico, our cameras captured a heavily fortified U.S. border.
This has been known for so many years for the high level of smuggling activity.
That has been true historically, but not anymore.
The activity is very slow. There's multiple factors attached to why we have seen a significant drop in apprehensions recently. One of them, of course, is consequences.
And you believe that is due to new policies from Washington, D.C.?
It has a lot to do with that.
It is quiet here at the U.S.-Mexico border, where illegal crossings are down by more than 90% from the same time last year. We have seen Border Patrol agents, soldiers, and vehicles and barriers, but no migrants so far. President Trump has shut down the U.S. asylum system, empowering officials to swiftly deport migrants without processing their claims. He has also deployed thousands of troops to the border and tasked the military with deportations. It's a crackdown felt across the border in Mexico.
Boy, that had to really chap CBS's ass to have to admit things are not going very well for them. Things are not going very well for Democrats. Donald Trump is doing everything that he promised. The American people are getting exactly what they voted for, and we want more. We want more of it. We want more of it up, down, left ways, and sideways. I'm loving every single second of it. You guys getting tired of winning yet? Here's what Democrats will do. And they're going to keep doing this, so pay attention to it. They're going to point out the fact that the stock market goes up and the stock market goes down. Sometimes things go up and sometimes things go down. That's what they're going to point to. You're going to hear recession, recession, recession for the next, 6 months. They're going to yell, they're going to howl at the moon like the sky is falling, ignoring the fact that last term, they basically just changed the meaning of the word recession to fit their political aims and their political goals. They'll ignore that. No, don't look over here. They'll completely ignore that notion because it doesn't suit them. But even some top Democrats are starting to admit that things are getting worse by the second. Here's Van Jones.
Yeah. And then just lastly, Van, in terms of Democrats and where they go from here, this last week we did see them some people try to protest during the president's address and then House leadership getting onto them, other Democrats calling them out. They still seem to be wandering around trying to figure this out. What's your take?
Can we ask another question? Do I have to talk about my own party? Can we talk about Ukraine or something? No. Look, man, we're screwed. I mean, we don't know. No, Democrats don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. somebody like Donald Trump, we thought we'd at least have, Hakeem Jeffries in the speaker's chair to hold him back if we didn't have Kamala in there to do the right thing. Listen, the Democratic Party is going through a massive set of internal crises. You have a party that got trapped two ways. One, defending a broken status quo that nobody likes because they thought that Donald Trump was going to make it worse. But when you're defending the status quo, you're going to lose. And then offending most people in the country, calling everybody sexist and racist and transphobic and every other name, and then saying, please follow us. That's not a good strategy, folks. Defending a broken status quo and offending most of the country turns out is not as popular as my party thought it was going to be. And so it's going to take a while for people to get it figured out. I don't like talking about this. I'd rather be beat up. Can you give me something I can beat up Shermichael about? I don't want to talk about my own party.
I know. It's a tough question.
It's a tough question. Yeah, because Democrats refuse to exist in the real world where nobody likes them. Nobody wants their policies. Nobody signed up for this. Nobody. Not a single person. Democrats refuse to exist in the real world. And now they're getting the real world consequences of it because they are losing the narrative. They have lost the narrative. All intents and purposes, they have nothing to run on. They have no leader. They have no supporting cast. Nothing. I'm here for it. I am all here for it, baby. I'm all here for it. Guys, before we keep rocking and rolling, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this program and everything we've got going on over here. Also, I think very soon I'm going to have a very personal, big announcement to let you all know about. I'm very excited about that. Super excited about that. Let's see if we can get to 300 Rumbles by the end of the show. I don't know what's going to happen. Apparently, the show has been bouncing back and forth. It's up, it's down. Nobody's watching. Everybody's watching. Who the hell knows what's going on? Is it broken right now? Now the Rumble count's all the way down. We shall see. Big cyber attacks coming everywhere. Obviously, I'm sure the other hosts will be talking about it throughout the remainder of the day. They'll be talking about it throughout the remainder of the day. And we shall see. We shall all see what happens. Look, sometimes this stuff happens, guys. Sometimes it happens. Not much we can do about it. So, let's see. What do we got? Was this it? I did have oh no, that's not it. Let's see. I had a fun clip of Ilhan Omar that I wanted to play that apparently has disappeared on me. Here it is. Ilhan Omar is very, very upset at Brandon Gill. You guys know Brandon Gill, new congressman from the great state of Texas. And he's also Dinesh D'Souza's son-in-law. So you know he's going to be bringing the fire all day, every day, nonstop. She's very upset with him because he happened to mention the fact that she skirted immigration law by marrying her brother.
Totally on the run. I want to follow up with something else because we recently had one of your Republican colleagues, Brandon Gill, on the show. He said that America would be better off if you were arrested and deported. He also said that there was audio of you advising what he said are illegal immigrants here from Somalia on how to evade ICE detection. I want you to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, again, these are people who have really stopped caring about our institutions, really stopped caring about our Constitution. We know that folks who are here, whether they are documented or undocumented, we know whether you are a permanent resident or you are a citizen, you have constitutional rights. And it is really important for people to know those rights. I know that it is red meat for his base that are xenophobic and racist to say to them that I am going to find a way to arrest and deport a member of Congress who he thinks is doing something wrong when I am doing the right thing in trying to make sure everybody that is within my constituency has the resources and the information that they need.
And she was democratically elected by members by the people in her district.
Yes, of course. But just to follow up very quickly, just be clear, you're not calling all of his base xenophobic and racist, right?
Well, I mean, he is feeding to something. He has a petition out. He's getting donations. That's what this is all about. He knows he can't deport me. There is no grounds for my arrest. So this information is only being put out there by him for a reason, and that reason is because he has a base that feeds off of that.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, thanks so much for coming in.
No, I appreciate you all.
Appreciate you all. Get the hell out of my country, or go back and marry your brother again. Because that's kind of what you do. And yes, if you broke the law on a visa, you get to go. You get a free trip home. You get a free trip home, as many of the crazy ass Palestinian protesters are starting to learn. Tom Homan has reached the pinnacle of the FAFO moment. And many of them will be going back from whence they came. They will no longer have to yell Free Palestine, as they will very soon be living there. I can't tell you how upset that makes me. Because it doesn't. Guys, sorry about the Rumble issues today. Who the hell knows what's been going on. Everything's been kind of nuts. I want to thank everybody for sticking around. I want to thank everybody so much for sticking around, and make sure you guys are following all of the pages wherever they may be. I will catch you guys back live at 1 p.m. tomorrow, rumble.com/LFATV. Will Johnson is coming up next on this network. Guys, until tomorrow, stay loud.